Okay, and welcome to the Freedom Hustles podcast. This is episode 32. I'm Andy Lehman from Freedom Skills Academy, and I am with
John Banks. Hello.
And you can find him over at sideincomeman.com. So, John, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, all right. Bit of DIY again this week. New carpets fitted today. I'm aching a bit, not cut out for it anymore. I think I said that the last time we were on, but it's dragged on a bit. These jobs always take a little bit longer than what you sort of think, don't they? I think.
Yeah.
I thought, that'll be all right, a couple of days, and then 2 weeks later, we're still doing stuff.
You do seem to be doing quite a bit of DIY at the moment. And,
yeah, I'm done now. I said today, that's it. As soon as that's it, once the carpets are in, that's it. And that is literally it now. I'm not doing anything else for a long time.
You're kind of lucky. I've been moving furniture around again. There's one thing I can't stand is moving furniture from one part of the house to the other, only to have to move it back again.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been doing a lot with the carpets. That's all literally I was doing all day today.
Yeah. But I mean, things change. But we moved some around a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, yeah, it's going to stay here, it'll be fine. And then today it's like, I'm not sure if it's a good idea having it here. So we end up moving it back upstairs, and it's one of those things. So right, yeah. So today, we're going to be talking about the power of free, or the freemium model, as it's often referred to. And the idea behind this today's podcast came about actually today. I was just reading. I've done quite a few, heard quite a few stories like this, but the story I heard today was of Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite an old story, so this is, I won't say it's early internet because it was 2007, so it's still earlier than today. But apparently in one of his songs, or some of the lyrics, he was singing to his fans to steal, and he was referring to his music. And basically what kind of happened is that he was getting his fans to take his music for free. And so they took this quite literally. They got shared on these music sharing sites. I suppose a bit like Napster. They don't have them anymore. I'm aware of anyway.
Torrents and all that, yeah.
Yeah, so these sharing sites were sharing his music with his consent. Then he started, I'm assuming he must have started sharing out his own music because he parted ways with the record label in 2008, which is probably something to do with the fact that they make profit, they make money off music sold, and he's telling everyone to buy it, get his music downloaded for free. He's obviously not doing them any favors. So they parted company in 2008. And then he produced his own album, which he then gave away for free. The whole album, which I think was something like Ghost 1 to 5 or 1 to 4, I can't remember the name of the actual album. He did have it up for sale, but it was kind of like one of those, if you like what you've listened to, if you really want to help me out, fine, give me $5 or something like that.
Yeah, just so a little token.
Yeah, it was like a token donation basically for the music, but he still gave it away for free. But what people didn't realize is that while he was giving his music away for free, he was building up this huge following, I don't know if he was actually building up an email list itself, but he was building up this huge fan base. He's obviously got a fan base for being in Nine Inch Nails. It's a band I've heard of. I mean, obviously you probably have as well. But he was building up this huge following, and he was giving a lot of stuff away for free. And then, people obviously thinking you're a bit crazy. You're not going to make any money. How are you going to do this? And then one day he decided that, he was selling a few DVDs as well, but they weren't making huge amounts, but he had his DVDs. But then one day he decided he was going to sit down, and then he created a special exclusive package, which included the albums on, I think it was the Ghost album on vinyl. Then there was some DVDs and some books in this product. And he only created a limited edition version. I think it was 2,500 of them. And he signed them. He signed them all. And then he charged $300 for this product. And I believe that he went and sold all 2,500 copies of this exclusive product within sort of like 24 hours, 48 hours, which basically then gave him a cash injection of, what's that, 750,000 or something like that?
Yeah.
So he did that, and he's only a musician. They're saying that he's obviously not a businessman, but it shows you the power of having a following,
Mhm.
and it shows you the power of having basically building up a list and giving away stuff for free. I mean, I've heard of a similar story of, I think he was a young musician. I don't know if he was a rapper or something from the States. He did exactly the same. He didn't have an album deal. He didn't have he wasn't selling his music particularly on any of these £1 MP3 sites, whatever, Amazon, stuff like that, or Apple. He was giving it all away for free, putting it on YouTube. He was creating his videos and he was building up his following. He made his money by actually getting ticket sales for his gigs and the merchandise at those events.
Yeah.
So he didn't need to actually sell the album to make the money, which was fine, probably pre-Rona days. I'm not so much sure at the moment, but
yeah. Well, the whole.
But yeah, so those are two great examples of how musicians have given away free stuff and yet still managed to profit big on the back end.
Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, I mean the 9 Inch Nails one. Yeah, I'd not heard of that story before until we talked about it earlier on today. But yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, like you say, we've talked about that before. That's kind of like the power of a tribe, isn't it? And like a real solid tribe of people. And then obviously in music, I don't know, in some ways you could say it's a bit easier because he had a fan base, but he kind of told them all, didn't he? Yeah, I guess in that industry as well, they kind of know people are going to do that anyway. Let's face it, it is a bit of an industry for that, the whole kind of copy and, pirating and stuff. And so he just probably said, you know what, go and do it anyway. Go and get it for nothing. It's going to be available. Go and get it. And at that time, he's getting people to listen to their music. He's getting people to listen to their sound. He's getting people to listen to their music and he's getting people on board. Perhaps even then they share it to other people. They then play it in the house when other people are around and so on. It kind of makes that ripple effect, doesn't it? It makes that spread. He may have even brought on, new fans and so on. And then, like you say, there's always going to be people that will buy the absolute premium version of anything that you make. There will always be premium. There will always be people that want that exclusive stuff. And like you say, exclusive because he only made 2,500 copies of the the signed vinyl deluxe pack or whatever. That was, you're part of an exclusive club if you get that. So it's no surprise that they just all sold within a day or so. And like you say, then and that was all from a kind of freemium model. We see it quite a bit, don't we, in the sort of digital online sort of space. Or I see it a lot really, but you see it more and more now with the kind of a bit more premium kind of offers given away for nothing now. Things like actual physical books, for example, is one I see a lot of now. They say you just cover the shipping and whatever, and that's fine. They'll send it out to you for nothing, and it's seeing more and more of that now. I mean, I do it. I sign up to these kind of offers, and because I like to kind of see the funnel and see how they're doing it, and a lot of the times, the content is really good, and you sort of think, blimey, if this is their free stuff, I wonder what their sort of top end, their premium stuff is like, and I can sort of understand why that model does work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen recently some guy giving away a free copy of a training course that he was previously selling for like $1,000.
Yeah.
So I mean that was something to get people on their list because his back end sales are basically up in the sort of tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Because he does a done for you service. But going back to a couple of points there, as you said, about the diehards, there's 2 points that I got thinking about then. I'm a member of a Facebook group for Orbital. I'm a big fan of Orbital. I like Orbital's music. I've done for years, been to many gigs, got many CDs. I too have bought a CD or two which has got them signed signatures on them. But in the group itself, as you say, there are people there who are buying the CD version, the album vinyl version.
Oh yeah.
They'd have the tape copy version. They'll buy the Japanese version. They have like half a dozen versions of the same album, but they never open them up to listen to them.
No,
and I'm kind of the idea that, well, it's music. I'm there to listen to it. I like to hear different versions, but they have to own that version.
Yeah.
And so with that, Trent Reznor, obviously the 2,500 people are big diehard fans, but it also goes to show that if you're building an email list or building a following, that you are not going to get a 90% or a 100% success rate. But basically, 90% of the people who follow you are not necessarily going to buy something from you. But this also also in play here is, I suppose you could say, it's like the 80-20 rule as well. So if you've got like 100,000 people, 80% of those people may only buy something for like $4 or $5, £4 or £5, but 20% of them will probably buy something at £50 or £60. 20% of that 20% probably will go on to buy the £300 box set, which is why they often say that you should do all these exclusives or different price tiers of different products, is because at the end of the day, you are leaving money on the table. If you turn around and say, well, I don't want to do that. It's just, $300, that's a bit too expensive. It's like, yeah, but people will pay it. And you're giving them, it's exclusive because you're putting your autograph on it. People want to own stuff and have that. If he'd made like 10,000 copies, then he probably wouldn't be selling that many.
No, I think,
But because he's made it exclusive with his autograph, made a product out of it. But I mean, yes, I mean that again, like you say, going back to the actual freemium model. It's not easy to say. Well, giving away things for free has always been a big thing, but it is.
Yeah, definitely. I think
so much easier to do as well these days, isn't it? So things are so much cheaper and easier to do.
I think, like you say, the exclusivity part of it is key. Certainly in our world, if like the online space and the sort of online world, if you were to, like you say, you could make 10. Say you did a freemium model, like a funnel of, like free book or whatever, step one, opt in, just give it away. Then you kind of build it up and sort of nurture it a bit. Obviously, the book can drip feed into other stuff and this, that, and the other. But, once you've built that sort of that following or tribe or, people that, that like your message and, they, for whatever reason, they want to hang around and listen to what you got to say, that's when you could kind of hit the, you'll do like 10, I don't know, done for you, complete everything. You'll build the site, the funnel, the whole lot, and you could charge, real top end, several thousand probably, and that would only be for like, and you'd make it. We'll make the point that you're only going to sell this to 10 people, and that's it. And once the 10 has bought, the door's shut, and that's finished. And they would go, wouldn't they? I mean, once you've got enough people that would sort of resonate and follow what you do, as long as you've got the social proof and the backing and the evidence that whatever you're doing works, and you've got a decent success rate and this, that, and the other, then that's what you do. They always say that, don't they? I mean, a lot of these people that we're talking about in the sort of marketing and that sort of field, they always start off almost the same, don't they? The funnel is pretty much the same. It's a freebie opt-in, blah blah. Then there's then there's a tripwire, which is usually something for like $17 or whatever. Then you go on the mailing list, of which you may get probably pitched something a little bit higher in the next few days or weeks. And then as you're on it forever, you'll probably get pitched, now and again, maybe once or twice a month. But ultimately, they know their real money is in their real high ticket stuff. Their sort of $5,000 one-day seminars, or, like I've had like $10,000 mastermind groups.
I was just about to say,
people, exclusive group for 10 people, and that's it.
There's quite a few of those. I mean, I often see that. I often see them in emails. They're, like you say, they're further down the funnel. But I remember once when, in a previous incarnation, when I worked for a company running seminars, I was at a giant hotel in Surrey where there was a meeting of a mastermind group of people who I knew, internet marketers.
Yeah.
And it was 10 grand. UK 10 grand to join the mastermind group. They would meet up it's probably once a month or something daft like that at this hotel to make it a bit more exclusive, a bit more better. But a lot of the thing with the premium, the freemium model is that you give something away free, and like you say, you get tens of thousands or thousands, possibly people getting that for free, and you filter them through. Once you start to offer your 10 grand mastermind group, you only need like 10 people. That's 100 grand,
exactly.
And that's just on top of everything else that you've made. But I mean, that's how they get to like a six figure business. It's not that they've written a book and they've sold like 1 million copies and got $1
No. That's always additional.
Yeah, it's just that they just they work through people, and people really, if you have got yourself a reputation as being a multimillionaire and you've done what you've done, and the people can see that, and they believe that you can help them, then sometimes they look and go, yeah, all right, 10 grand's worth it, and they join. So, and it all comes from basically giving away for the mastermind group that I'm talking about now. I haven't seen much of them just recently for the last few years, but I first picked them up in 2010, I think it was. And that was all they were giving away a free report on how they were selling ClickBank products through Twitter. It was all free report. And then I ended up buying a sort of yearly membership about WordPress and internet marketing. This is where I really first sort of started. That was like a few hundred pounds. And like I say, everything filtered through to bigger products.
Yeah,
and then like I say, I bumped into them at this hotel when I was working, and they were doing their mastermind group, and it's like it's 10 grand. People paying 10 grand.
Yeah, and like you say, they only need a handful of people to do that. And not being rude, and like it might sound a bit I might sound a bit off now, but at that stage, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but at that stage, they don't care about the rest of their people. They only care about the 10 or 15 people that they've got paying 10 grand each. They've filtered the rest of them out, and that at that point, the filtering system has worked. And let's face it, by the time they get to that, the $2 or $3 here and there, and the people that don't convert, that's why I was going about people. That's why people, it really, when people say, oh, I've had a really bad day, like 4 people unsubscribed. So that when clearly your message wasn't suited for them then, and clearly for whatever reason, they just didn't want to hang around on your email list. Whatever you tried to say didn't connect with them. So you're not a good match. Forget it. Move on. Yeah. I had some people asking me today about they wanted something that I had listed up on my website, and I said, sure, can I have the link? And I said, yeah, sure, here it is. And it's an email form, it's an opt-in. I actually said to him on the message, do not fit. I said, you can get the book here. And then the next paragraph on my message was, don't feel like you have to hang around on the email list. If you don't like what I say, don't just unsubscribe. Go and get the stuff and then unsubscribe if you don't want to hang around. Because I don't want people that don't want to be there on there. And I think by saying that, it kind of makes them think, I wonder what he does say. I think I will hang around. And none of them have unsubscribed. So I just be open about it. And I don't think at that point you really should be concerning about that. I think you just...
No, people who unsubscribe, you should, like you said, I did this before, you should see that as basically, it's a blessing. You basically got people on your list who aren't interested in your products. You're not wasting your time trying to speak to people who aren't interested. Not if they stay on your list, they're costing you money. But, it's like you say, you don't want particularly, you don't want vegans on your meat butcher's newsletter.
Yeah, top 5
it's kind of
barbecues or whatever,
or trying to get them to buy your sausages knowing full well that they're vegan is kind of like a pointless exercise, isn't it? So I mean, when you give stuff away for free, you are going to get a lot of potential tire kickers and wasters well, I mean, the thing is, the whole idea with the premium or the freemium model is that, again, it all depends on what sort of industry you're in, what niche you're in, what it is you're doing. The entertainment industry is often I often lay in bed and think about the entertainment industry because they get like you say, pirated and robbed more than anybody else. You know,
Yeah.
people are always putting their music on YouTube, not theirs, other people's music, and people sharing tapes and CDs. Because I mean, technically, if you buy a CD of a band's music, you are not legally allowed to sell it or lend it to anyone. But we do.
Yeah.
It's the amount of money they probably lost from their work, but at the same time, because everybody kind of loves music, film, or TV, these are the things that people share and go to watch more readily. More, movie stars and musicians, they have like tens of thousands of fans who like their work. Internet marketers maybe have a few hundred or so, or there's always that: are they spamming? Are they dodgy or stuff like that? Because you're not selling to them, you just entertain it. There's no threat, there's no fear there. So they have like masses of followers. I mean, I remember Eminem, one of his videos or something on YouTube had been seen like billions of times or something.
Oh, they're all crazy, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and that they've put that up there for free. You're not actually paying to watch it. They're obviously generating money from advertising, whoever's running that count for Eminem for the record label. So there is other ways of making money. I mean, I mentioned that young artist who he put all his music for free online. He might have used YouTube, he might have used Spotify, he might have used other things, but he could be making advertising revenue off YouTube as well. He might be giving it away for free, but he's still generating money, but he's not necessarily selling his music. But he built up a huge following, a huge tribe, which basically then turned into ticket sales. And I don't know if you know this is something I didn't know about until a few years ago, that people actually go to gigs, then they pay like £100 or so to go and see the artist.
Yeah, right.
I know there's a couple of girls from town who went to see what's her name? Somebody Perry, and they went and they paid like an extra £100 to go and see her afterwards.
Oh, right. Like VIP stuff, yeah.
Yeah, just VIP stuff. So once the gig's finished, and there was
that's a little upsell.
It's a little upsell. I mean, I don't know how many people they have, but they actually, and again, it's more to do with I was in the same room or I touched them. They don't really, they don't go for a meal and spend an hour with them. They'll probably just go and say hello,
just hang around,
and then get an autograph and off the pop, and they've paid £100 for it.
So I think that going back to kind of the digital world of the sort of stuff that we're talking about, and kind of what we do and the whole kind of space we're in, it's really important, and this applies to everything as well, but it's really important that the message fits, and it's really important that whatever it is you're giving away for free isn't too generic. It kind of has to hit a few pain points, and it kind of has to solve some problems. It's one of those sort of this is the pain point, this is how we can fix it, by not having to do any of this hard stuff, or whatever the basic kind of headline in in the sort of anything to sell anything. And I think that's a really important part. So that kind of weans off a few anyway. So a certain percentage will land on that landing page and go, do you know what, I'm not struggling with any of that, so this is not for me. And again, that's great, that's fine. Then you'll get the ones that will convert. So then you'll get the people that will opt in. Then again, it's up to you. We're getting a bit deep now into email marketing, but then you could have single opt-in or double opt-in. If you have double opt-in, unfortunately, you're going to lose a load more there and then, because some people are in such a rush, and whatever reason they do it on their mobile phone. And I've done it before. The next page doesn't load up, or where the hell am I meant to go now? And whatever reason, things don't work out. So that will lose another load of people. Then eventually you'll get the ones that will do it all. So if you go double opt-in, you get the people that do convert and they go through and that everything works fine. They're then on your email list, and then it's up to you then, to kind of take them through the funnel and decide how you want to go about it. But in the digital world, like you've talked quite a bit about the music industry tonight, which is great, and a lot of them being ripped off and their stuff getting distributed on here, there, and everywhere. By no means am I musician or anything like that, but I can honestly say that every single product I've sold, without a doubt, has been hacked and sold and given away and put on download sites. And if you're worried about that, then you probably don't want to be in this industry. I know for a fact that all of my stuff ended up on like black hat forums and all that type of stuff. People just do it. People just buy stuff. They'll refund it after a couple of days, and then they'll go out and share it all around for free. And that's the way it is. And you can't stop that. But yeah.
Can I also just say it's not necessarily just digital stuff? I mean, I know there's a lot of our authors who are on Kindle finding their books on pirated websites.
Yeah.
There's also physical. I remember there was a book my good lady bought, and the author is part of a Facebook group and whatnot. And then one day she said, basically asked the question of all the people in the group, have you bought this book? And I was like, yeah. And what did this look like to you? And basically what had happened is that they found out that somebody had bought the book and just reprinted a load of cheaper versions off and stuck them back on Amazon and started selling them. So, and she kind of calculated that she thinks that the amount of books that she sold is probably half of what has been totally sold. So she's got like 50% of the profits of her book because other people had taken it and stuck it on Amazon, was selling it as it was a sort of dodgy copy. I mean, someone buys a cheap print or whatever and just prints a load of books out, slaps them up there. So that does happen. But just changing the subject again, we're talking about sort of free content or free products. There's a new form of free content as well, which people are giving out, which is creating buyers and tribes. And that is, if you go to Instagram, have a look at people like Miguel Barkley, who he's the guy who does the £1 meal books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's
dieting and budget food and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, he's not got a 10 grand mastermind product. But what he does for free, what he gives away is, and I don't know how he gets the time or how his head works, but basically throughout the day, he just constantly films himself doing stuff and putting them onto Instagram.
Yeah.
As Instagram stories. And, he probably, I don't know if he does Facebook, but he does all this constantly. My missus is often listening to his stories. I often said it's like we're having a bit of a triangle. There's me, her, and Miguel Barkley, because I can hear his voice all around the house. And but he's putting out all this content, building this fan base. People are enjoying, because as you've said many times, you're buying into the person. And then he'll do some cooking. He's got his little pizza shop in Camden.
Downstairs one day, and he'll be in the kitchen with friends. Oh, Andy.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But she's, like I say, she watches all these, and yet he'll then start doing his T-shirts for his pizza, or he's now doing beer as well. But then he'll say, I've just been working hard writing recipes for my new book, which will be out. And then, Amazon are doing a special. And people going out and buying these products. They're buying these products. And yet his freebie is basically just constant content that he's feeding.
Just literally, value, giving away so much value all the time. Yeah, like you say, people are they're going to appreciate it, aren't they? The other one is we've talked about loads of times, which is a kind of really good one for a bit of longevity, is the kind of Kindle series. So like the first book, kind of give it away, do it on free or whatever on Kindle. But then, I think it was when we had Jo, our guest, on, who talked about Kindle. She didn't say sort of do a, really bad, obvious cliffhanger, did she? She said, like make it a good enough book that people are going to want to read it and share it, and good enough so that they want to come back for more. And then, like you say, if you had a series of 5 books, perhaps on the next one you could start charging a bit. And if people like the first one so much, they're going to buy the next lot. And that's a perfect example of the kind of freemium, the power of free stuff that works really well, especially in the the sort of book space. But yeah,
I mean, it's definitely something to consider. I mean, it's one of those we're often thinking about. Do you just give out a lot of free stuff? I mean, Bob Proctor, again, he wrote a book, You Were Born Rich, which I think was selling for years ago. It was a book he wrote. He'd get up in the morning, do an hour writing before he went to work, created this book, then he would sell it. But then he's been giving it away as a digital version for years. He might even given a physical version away for but he himself has said that that book has been probably the biggest sort of driving factor for business for his
Yeah.
company. But his company is selling these seminars and one-day weekend events, whatever, for several sort of $1,000 a pop, and then I think they're now doing streaming sort of several $100s to join the
lives and all
seminars.
that. Yeah.
So I mean that itself, he's written this book, giving it away for free for years, but it's generated absolute millions for him.
Another really good one. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, another good one. I was just going to say, a quick one is, that's a brilliant example. But yeah, another sort of quick and easy kind of low entry one is if you're going to do courses. You can do like courses now. You can set up. You don't even have to do it on your own website. You can do it on, Thinkific, Udemy, and there's a whole load of platforms. And you can actually give away. You can make certain videos. So say you do a 10 video series, you can make certain videos free. So you say the course is $27 or whatever, but videos 2 and 7 are free. Which could give a little bit of value, but obviously it's not going to be enough for the people to kind of complete the whole thing. But they can watch them, and then, like you say, they are more often then, if they like what they see there, they'll probably almost certainly go ahead and buy the rest. So that there's like you say, there's tons of ways of doing it. But
so it's a bit like video 7 is showing you how to ride the bike, but on video 6 that showed you where to buy the bike from.
Yeah, little things like that. And like you say, you need all of it to really complete it. But let's say, I don't know, let's say it was a something to do with online graphics or something like that. Perhaps there could be one video which is really, really specific to one certain element, how to do vector drawings or something like that. So that would be useful for someone that only wants to know that. However, in order to become a full digital artist and sell your work online and build a business out of it, you obviously need all 10. So it works, it certainly will work. But I think, like you say, we've covered quite a few different options tonight. I know the Instagram one's massive at the moment. A load of people I know are doing loads of free content on there. Really good, really good. I've got such a love-hate relationship with it. I really do. Sometimes I really get on it and I do stories every day and I think, I'm going to do it. It's not so much I don't know. It's not that it's a constant thing. I get that. You build a habit up and you just keep doing it and then it's fine. But yeah, it feels too one way almost on there sometimes.
I mean, I often think I need to do more Instagramming because, basically, you can't really do much more than nothing. I'm doing nothing at the moment, so I need to do something. But it's one of those weird things where it feels like it's a lot of hard work. Well, I mean, technically it isn't. It's, the tools in my pocket. It's easy, 5 minutes. But it's the constant, when I watch, like I say, Miguel Barkley, we're following his whole life,
exactly,
his family, his meals out, and who he's meeting on, and he's. I don't know if he's got like a checklist in the morning. He reads, at 10 o'clock, I must do this, or what if he just thinks. I can't get my head around in doing that all the time, but it's working big time for him. I mean, he's got himself he was selling T-shirts before there was even printed. He was getting pre-orders for T-shirts. He would sit there and say, I'm thinking, I've got this pizza place and I'm going to get these T-shirts. What do you think? I'm going to order these T-shirts. If you'd like one.
Going mad on the feed.
And people are ordering them. People who are not even going to, because he's only got one pizza shop, which is in Camden. And there's people up and down the country who's wearing his T-shirts who've never probably even been and hardly likely to eat a pizza.
Cult thing. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just, but then he was documenting everything, and that basically was just free content, and he's like a celebrity, really. He has been on TV as well since. But if you've got something that you can do on a regular basis, and you've got, you can. Oh,
there's a whole loads of stuff you can do. People are naturally, I think, a bit nosy, aren't they, and a bit, inquisitive. They like sort of poking into, having a look at what people's private lives are like, and you could write a whole journal, a whole day, like a monthly chart of everything just to do, 2 minutes every day, a little Instagram story. I could do one now of us doing our podcast and just say, here we go, we're filming the podcast. And then it just kind of starts. And once I got into it, it did kind of, you do see growth. There's no two ways about it. You do see growth. But yeah, I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk, is it Gary Vaynerchuk? Yeah, he always goes on about, we've got this, you've got your own media channel in your hand. You have literally got it in your hand. And you could start sharing your message out to the world almost, just that's how easy it is, just push record and go.
The good thing about Gary V is that what he fails to tell lots of people, and I've heard other internet marketers talking about this, is that he's spreading himself all over the Tinterweb, but he has a team of about 10 people doing it for him.
Of course, yeah.
He records a video, which is great. He'll probably record a video, but then he'll send it to somebody else who then will split it into Instagram images and photographs for Twitter and Facebook. It's ridiculously simple stuff, but it's quite time consuming trying to get plenty of content. But the thing is, it's like we said though, it's just so much easier. It's on your phone. You can delete it. You can film hours and hours on your phone. You can write on your phone. You can do so much. I mean, the stuff's there. But yeah, media channel, it really is. And we do know the power of being a celebrity and a field leader. And you've got yourself, like you say, with Instagram, with Twitter and everything else, you can become a celebrity.
And you don't have to think big, do you? You could just try and target small, just target your town or your little community. Like you say, you don't need millions of followers or anything like that. That's not what we're talking about. You only need, a handful really, or a couple of hundred people that really kind of get what you're trying to say and that you can kind of resonate with and sort of build a relationship and talk about stuff and connect and and there you go. And it all could start like we've started this podcast. It all could, 99% of the time it all starts with something that has been free, like you've done for free.
I was just about to mention the podcast as well being another great way, sort of perfect for not necessarily just people nationwide, but for, like you say, local businesses. Local businesses can do podcast videos, interviews and stuff, sell their services. I mean, I was on one the other week for a local company. They build websites, and it's just a great way to get people to see their brand and see what they do. They build websites for businesses, and so I did an interview to do with copywriting. But again, it's free. It's out there now, and people will know who they are and who I am.
Just a quick one on that then before we wrap up. Anyone that's starting out, that is a really good model of doing it. Like if you're new to any industry, then the kind of interview method is a brilliant way to kind of get started and can propel you on to kind of other things. And then so for example, if you took sort of 5, they don't have to be like leaders in your field, but if you took 5 kind of established people in your field and just interviewed them, a little bit like we're doing now, just a kind of off the cuff informal chat, just maybe if you just did 5 of them, 10 minutes each or whatever, all of a sudden you've got yourself almost a sort of hour's worth of good content. And you don't have to be the expert, because you're not, you're just the messenger there. You're just getting the stuff, getting the information from the experts, right? You've then packaged it all together, and all of a sudden you've got this 1 hour or 50 odd minutes of good, high quality content that you can give away for free. You can give it away. And the beauty of that is because they've been, they're on someone else's network and they're going to want to try and get some of your followers, this, that, and the other. Chances are they'll share it out as well. So it's a good way of starting.
Just before we wrap up, let me just tell you how powerful interviews and podcasting can be. Podcasting and interviews, which, as you say, you contact people, say, I want to do an interview, or can I do an interview on blah, 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 blah. It's so powerful that it has sprung up its own sort of business service. There are companies out there which will charge you around 10 grand, and they will then get you on hundreds of podcasts. So basically, they are podcast connectors. They reach out for you. So basically, you go to them and you'll say, right, I've got this I want to talk about or whatever, and they'll say, yep, right. They'll do the search and they'll try and find as many podcasts as possible, and they'll contact on your behalf and they will connect you with them. But you pay them sort of 10 grand. I know somebody who did pay 10 grand to one of these companies. I think he only ended up doing about 30 odd podcasts, but that was enough. Yeah, I mean, they promising like hundreds. And he says, I couldn't be bothered to do the hundreds. He says, I did 30 odd, but that got his name out there in front of a larger audience who then went to his website to find out more about him, which then filtered down, which then created, I think he had a couple of products selling at the time. So he would have ended up with 6 figures out of that 10,000 investment.
Yeah. So no brainer.
But that's all because he had the big business at the end. But I mean, like I say, there are people who are charging 10 grand to put you in control, in contact with podcasts.
So like a middleman service.
That's how powerful it is.
All right. Well, yeah, I think we should wrap up there. So good chat. Just a sort of summary from me. The power of free stuff. Don't underestimate it. Don't overcomplicate it. And just try it. You know, again, we've talked about testing stuff loads of times before. You probably need to do that with this. We almost certainly will need to do that with this. But it could be anything from a free bullet point checklist all the way up to like a free, course or a 10 video series. It doesn't really matter. There's loads of points of entry into the kind of freemium model. The important part is that the message fits, the message resonates with the audience that you're trying to kind of connect with. But that's probably it for me.
For me, the one thing that I was just thinking of is that one of the hardest parts about the freemium model is that when you want to start a business, you want to earn some money, or if you need to earn some money, the idea of trying to churn out lots of free stuff is kind of a bit like, but you sort of think, well, I need to get paid for this, or I need to do something. But you don't want to see yourself working for nothing all the time. But if you can plan it perfectly, and if you could start in advance, and it is often worth it, as we've seen for, like I say, for Bob Proctor, for Russell Brunson, for lots of other people. These are big hitters. I mean, yes, they'll probably use some paid advertising to start getting people to their free products, but the actual free products themselves has helped build their 6 to 7 figure businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thanks very much for listening. That was episode 32. Episode 32, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been John Banks over at sideincommand.com.
I'm Andy Lehman over at freedomskillsacademy.com. And so thank you very much for listening, and we shall speak to you again in next week's podcast.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.